sift it? Sift. Hang on. What's the verb and what's the noun? I'm joking. Today I'm going to show you how to make my Pilavuna loaf. Now Pilavuna are traditional Cypriot pastries. They're individually made so they can take quite a bit of time to do, but I'm bringing all those lovely salty, cheesy, fruity flavours into this one loaf and it's absolutely delicious. Okay, so like most cakes, we're going to start with some eggs. We've got 3 large eggs here. I'm going to crack straight into the bowl and then we're going to whisk those up. You can absolutely use an electric whisk if you'd like to, but I'm going old school with a handheld one today. So you want the eggs nice and light and frothy before you add any other ingredients to it. Those lovely golden yolks, look at those, amazing. So we've got those 3 large eggs whisked up now, so I'm going in with 225 millilitres of milk. You can use any milk that you like really, I've just got semi-skimmed milk here. I'm going in with 150 millilitres of olive oil. You can use extra virgin olive oil as well, that's absolutely fine. I do love the lovely depth of flavour that olive oil adds to cakes. So we're going to whisk that up again. Nice and simple. Again, just keep it nice and light, like so. And now we're ready for the dry ingredients. Okay, so I've got 325 grams of self-raising flour here. Now, I've got a recipe for this online. I use a combination of plain flour and buckwheat flour. I use self-raising flour. This is actually gluten-free self-raising flour. So essentially what I'm saying to you is there are various combinations that you can use. This is a gluten-free version, but you can use the same amount as regular self-raising flour as well. It's just 325 grams of it. And I've also got a nice pinch of cinnamon in here as well, which is an ingredient that's added quite a lot to Cypriot pastries and cakes and desserts and syrups, and also even to savoury recipes like slow-baked meat dishes and ragouts, etc. It's got such a lovely sweet smell, and we are going to sift it, although the lazy part of me would have probably just chucked it all in. The professional side of me says to sieve it. Oh, wait a minute, and we also need baking powder. Just a little bit, because it's self-raising flour, but I always get a bit conscious that it might not rise that much. So I've got about 3/4 of a teaspoon baking powder in there, and I've also got a tablespoon of icing sugar in there. So we're going to sift that all in. Sift, yeah, sift is the verb. Okay, and we're going to give this another gentle whisk, just to make sure that you don't have any lumps. You don't have to whisk it particularly quickly. And then we're going to go in with the rest of the dry ingredients as well. The flour and the cinnamon, the icing sugar and the baking powder into the liquid ingredients so that it's completely lump free. Perfect. I've got a lovely creamy consistency to the batter, which will obviously thicken ever so slightly when you add the coarse ingredients in there. Okay, so we're going to go in with the rest of the ingredients now. I've got 100 grams of sultanas here that I've been soaking in hot water just to keep them nice and plump and juicy once they bake in the cake. So I'm going to drain those now. I'm going to add those to the batter. I'm going to go in with 150 grams of cubed Hellim. I'm going in with a small diced onion, finely diced as possible. A heaped tablespoon of dried mint. And what I have here is 125 grams of finely grated Pecorino Romano. You could use cheddar, mature cheddar, and I'm going to reserve some of the Pecorino Romano along with 25 grams of finely grated Hellim as well to sprinkle on the top of the cake. So you get a lovely, cheesy, crispy topping to the loaf as well. So I'm going to stir all this in together. Oh, those smells. It is such a typically Cypriot combination of flavours, even though it's essentially a savoury loaf because of the cheese and you've got the onions in there. The addition of things like the sultanas, the cinnamon, a little bit of icing sugar naturally lift it ever so slightly so that you've got that almost contradiction between sweet and salty in every bite, which is really typically Cypriot and it's absolutely delicious. So that's perfect. We've folded that in. What I've done is I've lined a loaf tin with some baking paper. And we're going to go in with the batter. Okay, so all that's left to do now is to top the Pilavuna loaf with the lovely finely grated cheeses here, the Hellim and the Pecorino Romano. I'm going to do, top it with the cheeses now, put some of the seeds on top and put a little bit of the remaining cheese on top as well, over those seeds. I already know how good this is going to be. Cup of tea, get the chai on. Right, so I've got some sesame seeds here. These are already toasted, but ones that aren't toasted are absolutely fine. I'm just going to pop those on top. We're going to go in with some Nigella seeds or black sesame seeds or black onion seeds as well, that they're also known as. All the seeds. Oh, we're missing one set of seeds though, aniseed. Just get that out of my spice drawer. Oh my God, one sec. I found something. What is that? Where did that come from? Just in case you didn't know, I've got a cookbook and I'm so excited about it. It's coming out on June the 30th, but you can pre-order it. Please do. I can't even open it. I can't share with you what's inside of it. If I could, I would. There are over 100 recipes that I'm just so proud of. And it does what it says on the tin. It is my kitchen. And if I haven't gone on about it enough now, I will go on about it some more. So yeah, that's my cookbook. Back to aniseed. Sprinkling of aniseed. Normally I would say it's about 4 parts sesame seeds to 1 part Nigella seeds to about 1/4 of a part of aniseed. And if you understood that, then you're way more clever than I am. Right, there we go. Aniseed on top, remaining cheese along the edges, because you can never have too much cheese, can you? Let's be honest. And then we're going to whack this in the preheated oven. I've got mine at 170 centigrade because it's fan assisted. But if you've got a conventional oven, then pop that up to 190 degrees centigrade for about 35 to 45 minutes and it'll be ready. Okay, so the Pilavuna loaf has had about 45 minutes in the oven now. I tested it to make sure it was cooking in the middle. You can just use a knife to do that, and it's definitely ready now, and I cannot wait to show you this absolute gorgeousness of a dish. Look at that, beautifully risen, deliciously crispy and cheesy on the top. Those lovely seeds, I mean, I don't know if you can hear that, but that lovely crunch. And that is what is beautiful about this cake. Loaf, cake, whatever you want to call it, you can eat it as it is, or you can spread some butter on it, it's totally up to you. But that combination between that fluffy interior and that lovely crispy crunchy top is just perfect. Okay, so now all that's left to do is to lift it out of the tin in about 15 minutes onto a cooling rack and then leave it to rest for another hour before you slice into it. Okay, so I've taken the Pilavuna loaf out of the loaf tin. It's been cooling and resting for about an hour, and now we're ready to slice into it. I've got my tea ready, as you can see. I can smell the sultanas, the cheese, the mint. It's delicious. I just know it already anyway. Oh, seeds are flying everywhere. Crispy on top, deliciously soft in the middle. I'm gonna lift it out. I'm going to show you. Oh, look at that. Still hot. Oh my goodness me. That is incredible. See the bits of chunky Hellim in there, beautiful flecks of dried mint, those lovely plump sultanas. This is my kind of cake. Amazing.